What up, everybody? Hope everybody's enjoying their Sunday fun day. Mine's been pretty relaxing, football and probably some WWE 2K16 a little later. I'll get into that in a moment. It's crazy to think that 10 years ago today they aired Eddie Guerrero's final match. Wow. When you think about it, when you put that into perspective, it's crazy. It's very crazy to think about. Let's see. BCW, the second annual one, went off without a hitch for the most part, I believe. A good fun public appearance by the Reality Wrestling, and my hat's off to all the men and women of Reality Wrestling. I'm looking very forward to what the future brings to the company. It's just crazy to think. I shared a picture that was taken about 3 years ago when Reality Wrestling was really at its infancy. It was like one of the first semi-public appearances for the company as a whole. I think we were filming some stuff and just hanging out, trying to, all being part of this new venture, and to think how it's grown in the last 3 years is phenomenal. Just watched the last two airings on the CW that just took place, and congrats to Gino for becoming the new Reality Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, and also the youngest reigning youngest heavyweight champion probably in professional wrestling history. I can't verify that, but that is that's what we're saying. So if anyone wants to dispute it, go right ahead. But yeah, kudos, man. Let me talk about my takeaways from that at the last couple of tapings. I'll put it this way: over the last couple of shows, from a promo perspective, I think I've enjoyed a lot of the promos. JJ Blake's, it was dynamite. Really enjoy his work, man. Good kid, and really enjoy the recent success he's had on the show. Very well deserved, and his promo was pretty solid. Always enjoy Abel Andrew Jackson's and Gustavo's, with seemingly the group in some form or fashion is reformed, and let's see. Also enjoyed Gino's. I think both of Gino's promos, as well as Andrew Lockhart's, and always enjoy Sean Hendricks's promos, as well as Brian Keith's. Let's see who else. And also, I always enjoy Ruthless Ryan Davidson's promos. His are very intense. Like, in a sea of really entertaining promos, his are... everyone's really stands apart. There's really no two promo styles that are alike, which is great. Shows how creative the guys and gals are that are part of the show, including like Ivory Robin and Miranda, or Princess Miranda as she likes to be called. Let's see, anything else? I enjoyed Inferno Tiger's win over Buku Dao. Buku Dao's a really talented performer, and Inferno's a young upstart, and it's good anytime a guy who's been with Reality Wrestling for a while get to win, especially I think one of his first. Also good to see the Pump Patrol get a win over Legion, which was Brandon Sky and Cedric Payne. Not an easy thing. I've always enjoyed the Pump Patrol, both iterations, both versions I've enjoyed. And yeah, crazy to think that Bartek's no longer a part of that group. And then as quickly as they lost a member, a week later they gained a member. So yeah, let's see, anything else that really stands out. Gotta say, I enjoyed the Gino Mysterious Q match, even the wicked chair shot by Ryan at the end. But good stuff. If you get a chance to check them out, Be sure to check them out on YouTube if you're not, if you don't get the CW39 or one of its affiliates, I believe. But you could always go on YouTube. They'll probably release the latest episode tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Let me cover all the other stuff real quick. I gotta say, I really enjoyed the Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast with his guest Tyler Breeze. I thought that was really kind of in-depth, good 20-minute thing, so if you get a chance, go out of your way. Sam Roberts has quite a few wrestlers on his podcast, especially that wrestling podcast. He always tends to do a pretty quick 20 to 25-minute interview, and then he'll have like a state of wrestling portion with Katie Lillendahl. I think that's how you pronounce her name. But they give their thoughts and opinions. Pretty entertaining podcast, if I do say so myself. I enjoy his opinions. Let's see, what else? ROH. I caught the last episode of that. I enjoyed Silas and the Beer City Bruiser against the Young Bucks, and then it turned into the Boys against the Young Bucks. Enjoyed both segments of that. Young Bucks are really entertaining to watch. Really enjoyed the Boys, what they brought. And I enjoyed the triple threat, Cole, O'Reilly, and Styles. Cole getting the win there, and a pretty solid finish, and it was good to see all the melee at the end, and Styles and Lethal facing off. I think that's a pretty solid thing. Let's see what else. TNA, I'm about a week behind, so I watched week 4 of their World Title Series. I do like the hype packages, like the one for Storm and Abyss, and Gail Kim and Awesome Kong. Adds more significance to the matches, I think, which is good. I really enjoyed the DJZ versus Tigre Uno matchup. Oh man, I'm having trouble with that. DJZ's getting the win. Very solid, but they really had no hype for that, which, given that Tigre Uno's their X Division champion, I would think you would hype it a little bit, considering they put as much hype as they did into other matchups and whatnot. And I really enjoyed Gail Kim and Awesome Kong for what it was. Real storied history with those two, so good to always see those two in the ring together. Okay, so let me cover, before I get into the main meat of this. Well, I'll go real quick before that. Thursday, I didn't really know what my topic was going to be. I thought, well, maybe I'll do 2K16. Maybe I'll do a little review of that. But I still was, I hadn't really had a chance to play it. I'd like to get some time with the game to see what the differences are. And then the news broke. And I think at first I saw the video, kind of a similar angle for the one where, Cena had apparently gotten hurt, where Owens and Cena's timing was a little off, and Cena kind of got dumped on his head. There was concerns, but it's Cena, so he was fine. I think he was able to perform. I think this one, kind of same thing. It looked freakish accident. Maybe sprained his knee, or he has been pretty resilient. That being Seth Rollins. And then the news broke. Man, I'll get into that in a minute, because let's talk about takeaways. The 2 shows prior to the injury. So yeah, let's takeaways from Raw. Owens versus Ziggler. I really enjoyed it. Owens getting the win. The fall away into the barricade was pretty awesome. Breeze coming out, he utilizes social media like Facebook Live during a live Raw broadcast with the help of Summer Rae, really maximizing his minutes. I thought it was a great example. There's always the complaint of interrupting matches, going to commercial break during matches, and I thought this was a great way of like cliffhangering, because here comes the bad guy, and they go to commercial break. I thought that was a really good use of a commercial break, and I really enjoyed it. The thing with Ziggler is, I think he has such a hard time, for whatever reason, seemingly to truly embrace being a babyface. And what that means when you are a babyface. All that entails. I think he doesn't ever want to embrace it. Now, obviously, a guy who has the Twitter handle at heel Ziggler, I mean, he's obviously saying, look, that's what I would prefer to be, is a heel. So a lot of his stuff placates to that. Which I think is a problem, because if he really embraced what it means to be a babyface, if he truly embraced it, maybe changing his Twitter handle, really embraced it. Like, okay, I will be the company guy. What do I gotta do? And look at great baby faces. And once he really were to embrace it, I think he would be a phenomenal babyface. He's a great babyface, but if he really embraced it, like wholeheartedly, just was like, yes, I will take that mantle. That's I think the one glaring, if anything, issue that I see with Ziggler is that. And he's truly going to be tested now, because in essence they brought out Tyler Breeze, which I thought was a great distraction. Finished in the post-match stuff, Ziggler getting a little bit of the fight back, but then once again Breeze capitalizing. It's like, this is the guy that you could be, Ziggs. But I like Ziggler. I wish nothing but the best for him. I just think there have been instances where they have really wanted to put him over as a babyface, a true babyface. And he's real reluctant to be that guy. When if he just embraced it, I think they would strap the rocket for once and really give him that opportunity. But who am I to say? Let's see. I like the Renee Young, Becky Lynch, Brie Bella segment. I did. Enjoyed Cesaro and Miz. I thought there was a really great shot of Ascension covering Stardust ears during the crowd chanting Cody. I thought that was really good. I really enjoy Stardust, man. And I wish him and the Ascension would do more. Just a little more. Like, they'd give him just a little more to do. But I'm eager to see what the future holds. If there's this potential feud with Cesaro, who's the Swiss Superman. Sometimes I wish he would, come out with a cape. I don't know if that would really work, if he could pull that off. But sometimes I wonder. Not saying you'd have to wear it the whole time. I'm just saying, like, if you came out, you could market capes. That could be a thing. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I really enjoyed Cesaro and Miz, and Cesaro's got a great win. That giant swing, sharpshooter combo, I think, works wonders. Bray Wyatt, Eater of Worlds, and now he has supernatural powers. I'm okay with it. I think the future, there's going to be a guy who hacks the system. That's the next step. Like, takes over the broadcast with a phone. I think they tried that with Solomon Crowe, but I think on a scale, like, someone who could threaten, like, the next great heel is the social media like Lex Luthor. When Lex Luthor's probably going to be in Batman v Superman, just with the touch of a button on an app, just by playing an app, he can take over the broadcast or whatnot. I think that's future. But for Bray Wyatt to have supernatural powers, my hope is that he kind of morphs into almost a supernatural being, almost like deity status, if that makes sense. I could see them doing that if they truly wanted to pass the torch and create kind of this mythical being. I mean, they've got Finn Balor and the Demon in the wings, but I'm saying, up until that point, unless, Balor might, I don't know, it'd be interesting too. Let's see. I like the Lucha Dragons versus Sheamus and Barrett. I thought it was an awesome tag match between two really solid teams. Very innovative on both sides, from a heel perspective with Sheamus and Barrett, and from a babyface, just some of the stuff Kalisto and Sin Cara pull off are solid, man. They're just really innovative and really enjoyed it. I thought Del Rio and Truth was extremely physical. I mean, since Del Rio's been back, that's kind of been his MO. He's been this really overtly aggressive. I really enjoyed the style. Viva Meximerica, indeed. And that finisher, wow, man, that's, woo, deadly. The Fatal 4-Way, the number one contendership for the Divas title, that was awesome. Indeed, it was. Becky Lynch, Banks, Brie, and Paige. I thought it told a great story with Paige going over on Becky, and Banks and Brie made to look very solid. Like I don't really feel like they lost anything, especially the finish for Banks. Yeah, I thought that was something else, man. I don't know. I would love, like, people hearken to the Attitude Era. I would say, what if the Divas, the current day Divas, is kind of part of this Divas revolution? What if they did an Attitude Era type commercial for the Divas? Like, there was a commercial back in the day, I think everyone's seen it, where you seemingly had everyone kind of in this warehouse location or something to that effect, where guys were talking about being real athletes. You had Shawn Michaels and talking about his injuries, and Stone Cold and The Rock and Undertaker and everybody. And I mean, just kind of the way it was shot. What if they did something like that with the Divas now, like a Divas Revolution? Like you say you want a Divas Revolution, and it's just that kind of gritty commercial where it's just like they take the word diva and redefine it. Because I don't know if that title will ever go anywhere. I mean, I think they've invested, especially with the Total Divas thing. So if you could change the connotation of what the word diva means into something positive, where for them it stands for the female athlete. And of course they're divas, who else could pull it off? But I think that would be kind of a really cool little marketing campaign. And if they do it, well, you heard it here first. Not that I'm just saying, if you heard it, if it happens. I like the 5-man tag match, traditional Survivor Series 5-man elimination with the New Day, Owens and Rollins. I thought that was great. That was great. New Day rocking out to Owens and Rollins music, and Reigns and the Usos. Great to see the Usos back, and Ryback and Ambrose, and for Reigns and Ambrose to be the last two standing. I thought it was a great way to finish it out. And then over on SmackDown, let's see. Neville, Del Rio getting the win again with that wicked finisher. Another really good, not as physical as their first match, but still pretty physical. Great to see the Usos back competing. Great segment of total dominance by the Wyatt family. Again, I think if you have... here's the thing. If Bray has truly got this supernatural ability, he's got the power, then he should utilize it to win matches. You know? Even if it's like flames or... I mean, I could have seen something where they're in a match and... I mean, this would be pretty risky, but... I mean, why not? Someone goes to the top rope, maybe they're going to go for a moonsault, and he just throws up the fire, and the guy like, oh my god, and he falls right into whatever. But yeah, let's see, what else? I thought it was an impressive counter by Ryback on Barrett. It's good to see at least ESPN SportsCenter getting credit for breaking the story of the Seth Rollins injury. You know, Seth wasn't there, obviously, because he was in Ireland. And the main event of the match, I thought, had a creative finish. Owens and Ambrose. I think Owens, man, he's so good at all the little, you know, all the nuanced stuff. I think he tells such great stories. Him and Ambrose, I thought, was really solid back and forth. I thought the finish was creative. Owens complaining of a low blow, you know, taking a low blow from Ambrose. Then you see the different angle, and then he just kind of walks off with it. I thought that was cool for what it was. Let's see, what else is there? Anything? Oh, NXT. Yep. Before we get into the main portion, NXT. I enjoyed this week's, but mainly the two main takeaways. I liked Asuka and Cameron. Asuka getting the win. Thought Cameron did her part. And it was pretty impressive. I enjoyed Balor versus Cruz. Cruz getting the win by DQ after Corbin came out, and then Joe came out, and I could see the turn coming because, you know, they delay the send-off long enough for Joe to turn. But I really enjoyed it. I didn't see the Kevin Owens one coming when it did happen. So up until it took a while, like he kept coming back. So this one, you could kind of see it. I could see a potential four-way out of this where Corbin and Joe and Balor and Cruz all battle for the title, maybe at the next TakeOver special. Maybe. I don't know if that's the way they're going. They could separate the two and have Joe and Balor and then have Cruz and Corbin. That'd be an interesting matchup, Cruz and Corbin. I'd be interested to see how those two would work together. And it's going to be interesting to see how Joe and Balor work together. I mean, I can't recall the two battling, but not to say that they haven't. I'm just saying I don't recall seeing it. But it's interesting that Heather Ellis had posed me a question. She, her question is, she would like to hear my opinion on whether the lack of a single heel star at NXT is going to become a problem. And always like hearing from anyone who poses questions. But Heather, I really enjoy. Thank you, Heather, for that. Well, as you can see from the last taping, they now have arguably one of the biggest stars in NXT, although, you know, a very short time there, but been pretty successful, hasn't tasted defeat realistically. You know, that I can remember, hasn't. Samoa Joe. Now, on the tag team division, There are a few. But Joe and Corbin, I guess, would make your, your heel, some of your top heels. With Tyler Breeze leaving NXT as of now, I believe, he's gone. He's on, full time on the main roster. So I don't know if they'll have a lack of stars. I think what ultimately, they kind of treat it about the title, but there is a lot of heel face dynamics, and again, they just turned Joe, so I think they're good for a bit. It really depends on how the crowd reacts. Now, Joe's pretty popular. Joe's gonna kill you is a pretty popular chant. His t-shirts sell. He's a guy that they've been clamoring to have there. I think he's been in a holding pattern, with the exception of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. So this gives him a chance to be in the forefront, and I think he could be one of those dominant heels. He's proven it. At TNA, he proved he could be a dominant heel, especially when he debuted there. And when he was X Division champion, I could see him being kind of that same guy, and you just having a plethora of baby faces to chase. I think it ultimately depends on, it only would hurt their product if in fact they didn't have, quality people on the other side. Like, you could have one great heel saying they're the champion if you have a bunch of baby faces as challengers that come after the heel. Now, if you have a babyface champion and you have no one chasing after him, at the very least, then his run can kind of seem lackluster. Like, you want people to be coming after him for whatever reason. And I think Balor, because of the timing and position within, the timing of his, him winning the title from Owens, and then, he had the rematch with Owens, but he really hasn't had, anyone to feud with. But again, it's been the time within NXT. They had the tag team stuff. So now that they can't put the focus on him, Joe's a good person to have, and if they do a four-way with Corbin and Cruz, I don't think it's potentially a problem where you have to turn someone, because if, say, Joe wins it somehow, then you've got a bunch of baby faces to challenge. And even from your tag team ranks, you can have like the one-offs where, like, you could test Chad Gable. That guy's pretty awesome. So I like him and Jordan. I like them both as a tag team. Like, I think they're good for now. I don't think there's any issue that I can see. So, again, thank you, Heather, for your question. So now, the main topic. Man, again, Thursday, didn't really have anything planned. I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with anything or what I was going to talk about. Again, I hadn't really put a whole lot into 2K16. I will talk about my progress after this main topic. Saw the video, hoped for the best. At the very least, okay, maybe he's got a knee injury. Maybe he could work through Survivor Series, take a little time off. He could do that. He's the authorities guy. But when you find out that he tore his ACL, MCL, meniscus, and he was going to be out 6 to 9 months, and I'm not going to be one that would rush him back necessarily. I don't think you need to. I think the longer he's away, there's that finer point, but if you could document that stuff. You could document his rehabilitation. You do little things to, if you wanted to keep him in people's minds, you have that ability to do that. You do a weekly check-in with him, so on and so forth. So him being out 6 to 9 months, I don't think it's necessarily a tragedy. And I don't think they necessarily need to panic. That's my opinion. accidents happen. Strangest of strange accidents happen, and freakish accidents happen, especially if it's something that you do with relatively often. Case in point, we have a guy at Reality Wrestling, Evan Snow, E. Snow. Great kid. I've known him for a long time. I knew him before he was part of Reality Wrestling, when he was part of the Pipeline Express. I believe that was their name. Both good kids, and he's a talented guy. And I remember last year's Summer of Champions, him having a match, I believe, with Rockstar Robbie. He was going through his entrance, and you wouldn't have known it, but with his entrance, there's a part where our stairs are positioned. He'll go from the stage, and then he'll walk, or from the ramp, he'll walk, he'll go on top of the stairs, and then he'll jump off, and he'll continue his entrance. Well, for some reason, this time, his knee buckled, and you couldn't really tell because he went through the entire match, but he had, for all intents and purposes, blown out his knee. Something that simple. I mean, accidents happen. House show, it can happen. We tell talent at Reality Wrestling, if the cameras aren't on, I mean, you still want to give an entertaining match, but safety's top priority. I mean, you just got to work smarter, not harder. So, luckily, I mean, it took Evan almost a year to be back. So again, if that's any indication, and a torn ACL, MCL, meniscus, I mean that's some major surgery. Medical science has come a long way, but still, it's an injury nonetheless. And rehab time and whatnot. Again, I wouldn't rush Seth. It sucks because I thought he was outside of John Cena. I think he was the MVP of 2015. Given the position he was put in and the performances that he's had. And I wish for nothing but a successful recovery. I'm not even going to talk about speedy. I don't think there's any necessity to bring him back fast. And at the same time, I don't think there's necessarily any reason to panic. Now, WWE has announced, and I'm sure Monday we're going to start to see where they're going to go with things. But this tournament at Survivor Series, and obviously they've had to rewrite some stuff, and at the same time I think they've had to really kind of look into the future because they're not going to have Seth, and more than likely you're not going to have him for WrestleMania. Now, even if he was ready for WrestleMania, I wouldn't put the pressure of having that kid perform back. Maybe if he's not fully healthy, maybe that's when he makes his return the night after. That would be something. And he could be a babyface, like, quickly, because he would come back with that sympathy of being taken out and people missing him, because I think you're genuinely going to miss his performances, his ability, what he's been doing. I don't think WWE is going to lose anything. At the same time, again, I will stress, there is no need to panic. There's no need to put it potentially on anyone that you don't want to put it on. Stopgap, nonetheless. I wouldn't necessarily get rid of long-term plans. Now, things will change. Maybe you won't have that Shield triple threat, if that was potentially the plan. Not saying that was the plan. Let's say they wanted to go there. They could still go there. They got that for years to come. You could still have Roman and Ambrose one-on-one for the title, maybe. I don't know who's going to win it. Could you put it on Reigns? Yeah, I mean, you could give him a one-night tournament. I don't think you necessarily have to turn him heel. There's a lot of this rumbling about turning Roman heel. I don't know if that's the best case scenario. That sounds like a panic move. At the same time, I wouldn't blame them for going that route and keep maybe having Ambrose be the chase, the one to chase him. I don't know, you put those two in the finals and see, as a big feeler, like see how those two match up. That would be a pretty convincing story for Survivor Series. I don't know if you necessarily have to bring back Brock. I mean, he had 9 staples not too long ago, so he may not be ready to go. And again, do you necessarily need to rush it? I don't know if you need to rush it. You could have Roman win it, having battled his friend. No turn. No controversy. That would be the controversy. There is no controversy. You want something big. You've already got the Wyatts against Taker and Kane and whoever else, potentially whoever else they bring in. You're going to have the tournament. But it's Survivor Series. There's bound to be some hijinks. WWE's known to have hijinks, especially on that show, so I could not see this being any different. I mean, not something like The Rock wins the title, although that would be a great swerve. It comes back to play corporate Rock one more time. It's like, I'll do it one more time. No. You could have Brock come back. I don't know. I'm curious to see where they go with it. Again, I don't think it's panic time. I don't think you bring back Cena early. I just don't think you need to, because I will say this about the ratings. I don't see any improvement in anything you do. I think it's just the time right now, and it is what it is. And I know that sucks. I don't know if the ratings really mean... I mean, they mean something, obviously, because the brand, is, especially for television presence, is predicated on the thought that they can bring in good numbers. But at the same time, I don't think any one thing's going to fix it. I think it's going to be a combination of things, whether it is making the Divas more competitive or creating more intrigue with your secondary titles, which I think is what you're doing when you have an Owens and a Del Rio. You know, if you're shy about pulling the trigger for someone, here's the truth. Whether you pull it now or you pull it later, there will always be some resentment for Roman Reigns. Now, how he deals with that and how the company deals with that is really kind of their thing. He can stay the course. Because the reality is, as long as they're making noise, you're doing something right. John Cena's shown that, and WWE has shown a level of, we're going to do what we choose to do, and if you don't think he's Superman, we're going to continue to push him as Superman, because that's our narrative. Then I don't see a problem with them pulling the trigger on Reigns, and people having a problem with it, and the Authority having a problem with it, and him having this uphill battle of trying to prove that he deserves to be champion, even though winning it should prove that he should be champion. It doesn't matter how you win it, just the fact that you win it. It doesn't have to be a popular decision, and I'm interested to see. I mean, it could be a very intriguing time, because now, what do you do with that title? Where do you go with it? We'll say a lot about what the company has planned moving forward. And again, you're trying to build up to WrestleMania 32, which should be huge, but really will be a test as to the dominance of the brand overall. But I think if they really felt they couldn't fill it, they wouldn't have done it. And this we'll ultimately see. I'm very much looking forward to the ride and what happens at Survivor Series in less than 2 weeks. So, before I go, WWE 2K16. I did, for all intents and purposes, create myself on the game. I am on NXT, and Eva Marie is my, no. Eva Marie was my valet until I made a change. I just was like, well, let me test out this manager protocol. I'm not a heel. I'm a babyface, so that limits to who you can pick. I finally had enough to get Lana, but they wouldn't let it because we're not aligned. Even though you can have allies who don't, I think Baron Corbin was at NXT, I'm still at NXT, but Baron Corbin was my tag partner for a bit. I feuded with all the top guys so far: Sami Zayn, Tyler Breeze, Hideo Itami, Finn Balor. Kevin Owens is the champion right now, but I'm the number one contender. I've changed my outfit a few times. Now I'm kind of a mix of... I kind of like when Shawn Michaels meets the Joker meets Ultimate Warrior. It is crazy. I put more tattoos on myself than I currently have, but I think if I was truly a WWE superstar and that was my gig, totally my gig, I would be probably tatted both arms at this point. I would probably be well tatted. They have more beard features than 2K15. And I like what they're doing so far. Renee Young always interviewing. I didn't make any real major changes to some of the default as far as like personality traits and such. It just kind of stuck in the middle where it started. And I lose more than I win. I'm still getting the hang of the game, but yeah. Number one contender for the NXT title, and I am feuding currently with Kevin Owens for said title. He doesn't have the same entrance that he has now. Like, on television, it's not the same on the game. That's one thing I noticed, because he's actually wearing the belt. That's kind of the weird dynamic, like if they're not really sure how the guy does it. I think I do like the Balor one. I've seen both Balor ones. I have kind of I don't want to say generic, but he's kind of the rah-rah babyface entrance. I've got that entrance. And I think I use a variation of Rick Rude's Titantron and something else. Some generic, like, sexy guy music, because I'm Sexy Steve. But it's a cool game so far. I mean, it does take some time, but I won't go to... I mean, that's about as in-depth as I'm going, because, again, I'm just beginning, and I like it so far. I'll put some time into it, probably a little bit later. So yeah, I don't know what next week will be as of yet. I'm sure come Thursday or Friday I'll have something in mind. If I may actually have to film that early. Like, I may have to actually film that Friday or Thursday. I'm not sure when I'll film that. Yeah, we'll see when I'll film that. That may be something like late Friday night, early Saturday morning might be. Is when I film it. I'll see. If I don't, then it'll be another Monday, film Monday, release Monday thing. But I'll keep you guys informed as much as I'm informed. So, yeah, I enjoyed this little topic. I mean, in spite of the reasoning for, the reasons of the topic, I did enjoy it. So, again, if you have any feedback, comments, questions, topics you want me to discuss, I mean, definitely hit me up, send me a message. If there's something you want me to address, feel free to hit me up. Otherwise, worst case, maybe I'll just read what's on WrestlingNewsSource.com and comment on those stuff. I'll probably do that at some point. I think that's about it. American Horror Story, still enjoying that. And I recently wrapped up You're the Worst Season 1. We have the second season on the DVR right now. I really enjoy that show. I like the theme song. I like the dynamics of the couples and the best friends and all that. So really enjoy that show. Glad I finally got through Season 1. I mean, only 10 episodes, so a little behind. But yeah, I think that's about it for now. So stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. Support Reality Wrestling. Go to realitywrestling.com. Next Saturday, November 14th, be at the show. It's another television taping at the Clear Lake Sports and Recreation Center. You can also go to realitywrestling.com for more details. And if you go there and support this and support me, then you're already all that. Until the next time, later!